Uh, it's not simple that we've been analyzing that how caste have changed its or paved its way into the politics, but basically this has been a very rigorous work, and through longest of the long evolution, these things have shaped, in fact, or molded. Like some, in a way, it has done some of the things positively, just like I said, like in increasing the political participation of the people. But the negative would be the society was fragmented on the notion, and that would become sole agenda to live. And this is how the things have changed with the introduction of, or like, the introduction of democratic features based on the caste. And anything, if you look at it, so this is as per the Constitution of India. So in Constitution of India, initial articles 14 to 9, uh, uh, they say everybody is equal, so they should not be discriminated, and they should not be discriminated on the basis of caste, religion, and race. But the politics in real life just does that on the basis of caste, religion, and gender. So, in a way, if you look at it, it kind of violates the basic principles of equality as given in Indian Constitution. So, because it has been dividing people on the notion of that just because for their vote bank politics. And it has politicized caste as a divisive factor by counterposing one caste or group of caste against the rest. Yes, it has become a tool. It has become a weapon to various political parties and their ideology that they are established on. So, some of the political parties they combine with, or they work in politics alongside a few groups of caste that they support to, or most of the members in that uh, political party, be it members or the hierarchical structure, the top leaders, they belong to certain caste. So they also invite people, or they also mobilize people who belong to that certain caste. So in a way, it's like it's like rather than becoming a political party, it would become a caste-based party. So like I'll give a call to my section of people, my people that I represent. So in a way, instead of political parties calling out the democracy an essential feature on the basis of equality or non-division, but rather they divide or they fragment the society further on upon calling only certain sections of people which they would abide by. So this has, in a way, they have used this tool very crucially, and also this has led to the fight among one or two groups. Like there would be a constant fight because if one of the party gets into power and they be doing any policies which are specially targeted to certain section of caste, and the other section of people would understand that these are specially targeted to only this section, then why are we left out? So they will develop a grudge, they will develop a notion of partiality against the other caste, and there would be an internal fragmentation between those two set of castes. So in a way, this they have used the political parties have used this politically to counter attack the caste, and to, or a group of people who would not be represented in that certain political party. So it promotes loyalties in elections. So exactly this is what how it happens. It's like, just like I've said earlier, like certain political parties would give a call to caste, to members of the caste that they belong to. So these people think that it is our party, like it is Ma party. So they would abide by it. So in a way, in spite of them being or making harsh policies, or them not providing the necessary democratic features, the people or the voters would vote for it just so that they are loyal to their caste members. So this in a way lands nowhere. This in a way fragments society further. Only benefiters from this are the political parties who literally divided the society on the basis of caste, and the democratic functions or the social functions or the social policies, welfare policies would be left aside. There would just be any um, riots erupting or any attacks erupting just on the basis of caste among the people. So, like, this will, what happens further is once that political party comes into power, the people started to lobby. So how? How means as a group of us belong to certain caste, and we have mobilized a certain set of people and we have voted for your party. Now they start pushing from outside on the government to make policies, to make any bills, or to make any welfare policies, or to give up any executive orders that would be beneficial to this certain sections of caste people. So in a way they started they would have they started to influence politics from outside. Now this is against the very notion of democratic or essential feature that we have been coming out, and it leads to literally, like, rather than political parties which are democratic associations running the government, but it will rather be a certain caste associations that are running the government, that are making the policies. So this would discriminate, as in all the other caste people. They would be seen just as a person belonging to so and so caste rather than being seen as citizen of India. So in that purview, they stop making policies which should be useful, which should be addressing all the sections of the society, but rather they would address only one certain sections of society. So the caste in colonial period, like the caste have not evolved just as so such. So this was existing in colonial period also, and the British Empire did not leave any chance to not mobilize people on the basis of caste. They have fragmented societies on the basis of caste. They in fact fragmented the society on the basis of religion and gender. So what their policies, especially the economic and political policies during the British Empire or their colonial rule, they've led to the emergence of caste identity. They have, in fact, divided society on the basis of caste identity. So, first thing is that they have introduced separate electorates for the depressed classes, and the caste in the, like, the menial caste in the legislative bodies. So, this have, in a way, had certainly led for the Pune Pact, and the Gandhi went on to further, and Ambedkar had to withdraw the thing through the Pune Pact. Like, this all have divided the society, they say, uh, but the representation was also meager in the nation. So this was one of the policy, and with this policy coming into picture, like separate electorate for the depressed classes, people have started to awaken, like their consciousness hit, and they started to identify themselves as based on their caste rather than they have left aside the atrocities or the unity that they should be fighting against the British rather than the British who were dividing the society on the basis of caste. So, as this is not uh, already been existing, it is also mentioned in Constitution of India that there should not be any caste-based discrimination. So, this violates the principles of Constitution of India in short, and role of caste in politics. Now, you should understand, like, what role does it play? Like, is it a partial role, or is it something that runs in the background or something? But this caste and politics could be seen at two levels. So first is caste in politics or politicization of caste, and its co-optation in politics on caste basis, political mobilization to caste, and politics of caste reservation. So these all could be seen through this all four notions, but in two levels. So, what is politicization of caste? So, this co-option in politics on caste basis. See, this can be studied at two levels. First one is politicization of caste. Then second one is which could be studied under other three heads. In that, the first one is co-optation in politics on caste basis, political mobilization to caste, and politics of caste reservations. So this all four things would help you analyze that how the caste have played a crucial role and how it shaped the entire political structure of India. So this co-optation in politics or on caste basis, the co-optation can be said in the form of manipulation. So now what happens? The political parties nominate candidates to contest elections. Only like it will give tickets only to their caste members. So that the constituency members in that area, let's suppose they belong to some certain caste A, and the political party wantonly gives tickets to certain caste A person, then their winnability of their winnability chances are could be very high because during the campaigning also they would bring up this topic especially so that to address to let them know that this person belongs to your community, so you better vote a person belonging to your community rather than some other person. So this would divide society, this would divide the voters on the notion that they are mobilizing people to participate on the basis of caste. Now, the political elite which assumed power, this was actually it was basically drawn from the dominant or the privileged caste. See, dominant caste doesn't mean that uh, they are in majority. So it doesn't come under the numerical number. It just comes under the strength. So the dominant caste would be a political society which assumed power and was drawn from this privileged caste. So they could be lesser in number, but exerting their force. So they are the dominant in that area. And low level of political parties have social composition of uh, political and social composition of upper and middle caste. And if we look at the parliamentary elections. So the first is the opposition parties are present and workers' parties, DMK and a scheduled caste federation. So this is how the things have been going on in the Indian politics and intra-party factionalism and rivalries among members of the dominant caste. Let's suppose that political party just not belong to one caste, one certain section of caste which they said to have represented, but there are it's a conglomeration of all the different castes. But inside of that, the internal democracy of the political party would just be disrupted on the basis of caste because if that party members favor giving tickets to only the dominant caste people that are in that party uh, or the ministries have been given to that certain dominant members only by not addressing the other persons or just not on the performance basis, but just on the merit of caste. So this would internally cause fights or fractions among the people, among the party members. And Congress by large co-opted scheduled caste, but it failed to attract the middle classes. So there are certain methodological tactics that have been implied by these political parties. So one such example is first one is Congress. So the Congress have co-opted with the scheduled caste, like it could able to mobilize the people belonging to the scheduled caste, but the large number of middle caste or the middle class people who belong into a certain caste, they would like middle caste, I mean, which is not depressed, which is not dominant. So they fail to attract this section of society because their policies do not represent them basically. So that's how they have failed to attract. And Praja Socialist Party was able to mobilize the backward caste, and the Communist Party is dominated by the upper caste, secure the support of other castes. So mostly, and Bharatiya Kranti Dal of Charan Singh brought large number of middle and backward castes. So how do they address? how do they address that these uh, people is through their policy, is through their working functionary in election agenda or election manifestos. So they would make sure that they are addressing the policies to this certain sections of caste. So that's why people could think that, oh, he's representing me, is representing my caste. So I will go abide by this certain political parties. So that's how the society has been divided or the fragmented on the basis of this political parties addressing only certain sections of society. So next one is caste-based reservation. So this is an affirmative action, or this could be like positive discrimination because state interference is there, and the reservation could be seen in employment and educational institutions, which is which is reserved for the people and the communities belonging to certain sections. This reservation is based on the social or the historical oppression that have been discrimination that have been faced by the certain sections of the caste, which inhibited their growth. So basically, they were oppressed by the dominant sections, which could develop in the due process of oppressing them. But these societies have faced a lot of discriminations, and they have stayed at the bottom level. So through positive interference of state and through positive discrimination, like providing reservation to such certain castes would represent them in general, and this over a period of time, this would uplift their social status and educational, like social economic and educational status. Now, the reservations in educational institutions and the governmental services could be seen as such. Like the Constitution has provided reservations 23% to SC and ST population. This has been made on the recommendation of Kaka Kalelkar committee, who basically recommended the reservations in government uh, services and education. But these recommendations, the committee recommendations, were not implemented as such because it provided 23% for the country's SC and ST population. So there was another commission for the reservation. So this was a backward class commission, which was formulated in 1978 uh, under VP Singh, sorry, under VP Singh, so prime ministership. So the Mandal Commission has recommended reservations to the other backward castes. So what happened in 1990? The President VP Singh announced 27% reservation to in central government, reservation for the other backward castes, OBCs. So they demanded the merit to be taken as a basis of recruitment. But the politics of Hindutva offers the counter offensive methods, and the reservations have been used as a tool for mobilization on caste. So this can be seen uh, by in Andhra Pradesh also during MRPS. So why do you think MRPS have formed and Malam Mahanadu was formed? So despite being Dalit groups and this MRPS, Madiga Reservation Porata Samiti and Malam Mahanadu, they have been fighting for the reservation to be represented. So they like with that decision or with political parties taking such crucial decisions has started to inspire or have started to mobilize people of the other sections of the society or people belonging to other castes on the notion of their representation or notion of reservation. So, but in Tamil Nadu, what happens is 69% of government jobs and educational provisions positions are reserved. So this is against the 50% cap that the Supreme Court has put up on caste-based reservations, and also this can be seen in like certain caste people in certain states have said to have installed or like they play a crucial role in state politics. So this can be seen as in Jats in Haryana. They account for like 29% of the population, and out of like 10 chief ministers that have been formed, chief ministers in the state, out of which the seven supposed to be happen from Jats. So the caste, the political parties have used the caste-based system and the caste-based fragmentation, especially to install their their wishful candidates or to divide the society, which could be beneficial to them. So, and UPA has cleared reservations for Jats at the center days before its term came to an end in 2014. So, again, the Jats, along with the four other OBC groups, were also granted a reservation at the state level. So, this can be seen in all certain such things. Then, Then in mid 80s, in Gujarat, the anti-vote agitations have started to erupt, and it was a violent eruption. So what happens is the Patels, who are the dominant caste in Gujarat, they have been the face of these organizations. So it's the Patels have been on streets. They have demanding to be classified as another backward class and to be uh, addressed and address a proper reservation to them. So uh, this is another such violence eruption or the organizations coming onto the street and fighting for reservation. The next one would be seen in Maharashtra, where the Marathas are the land owning caste and the politically dominant group in Maharashtra, and they've been also fighting for the reservations to be done. Then Kapus and agrarian community in Andhra Pradesh have been demanding inclusion in backward class category since 2 decades. So this could be addressed in EWS reservation. So although they belong to a dominant caste or uh, non-depressed classes, so but on the basis of their economic status, they would like to be represented as a backward class category, like economically backward sections. So this is how previously the societies based on their caste have been agitating on streets, coming together for their representation in government institutions and education institutions. So then another one is political mobilization through caste. Now this political mobilization through caste has been an important tool or a crucial tool for the political parties, which is actually against the constitutional provisions, right? They have been mobilizing people on the basis of caste, like, and this is against the essential feature of democracy. But sadly, this has become an essential electoral feature of the essential feature of electoral politics. So the political mobilization on the basis of caste has certainly led for the formation of caste alliances, and these caste alliances would come together and fight for certain cause, and they have tried to gain confidence and status, and they not only actively participate in political parties, they also have drawn their support in political processes, but also they help mobilize people. And on the very notion, they have like the regional parties. On the very notion of such, they established the regional parties at the state levels, which could mobilize people belonging to certain sections, and they could call out for the support of uh, certain sections of the society, which could support them or protect them. So this can be seen in BSP. So BSP in UP. So the BSP has tried mobilized people on from especially from the marginalized caste groups like SCs, OBCs, and they could be called as the depressed classes. So it could be able to mobilize people on such, and they were all uniting for their uh, against the oppression against them. And the political parties has two dimensions, uh, like the candidates and the voters. So this can be seen like how a caste could play a role in political parties. So this could be your question since the beginning of the class, like uh, how do they play any role? Like why do they play any role? So this can be seen in either through candidate selection or through voters. So what happens is candidates belonging to certain sections of caste would be given tickets. So by giving that, the political parties through political campaigning, they would put this sentiment into the electorates that he or she belongs to your caste. So instead, so voting for our party would make you vote for your caste member. So he is one among you. So please vote for him. So he would represent you. So that would uh, like the appeals by the political parties would be doing as such, and the voters also, they would vote to certain people on the notion that he belongs or she belongs to my caste. So I will vote only to them. I will just not look into like what party they belong or what ideology they follow or what manifestos they bring up with or what they would do once they come to into party. Are there pro welfare policies implied, etc. All these factors were put aside. Just the voting would be mobilized on the basis of uh, caste. So the increasing number of middle and lower castes have sought equal status with the upper caste through the process of Sanskritization. So the process of Sanskritization, who gave the process of Sanskritization of caste? It was given by M.N. Srinivas. So M.N. Srinivas says that the various certain sections of the caste have went through this process of subsidization of themselves. So what they would do is the depressed classes would identify themselves as or would change their cultural practices, which would which would be a replica of the cultural processes or the what can we say, the caste methods or wala పద్ధతులు, those all would be reflecting the dominant caste methods and processes. So in a way they try to act or be a replica to themselves of the dominant sections. Like they would project themselves as people belonging to dominant caste by acting like them, which would make them represent, which would bring them representation in the society. So this is how the Sanskritization of caste have went on to, and they in 1970s, especially after 1967. So mid of 1970s, after the emergency, the Dalits all around India have launched their political campaigns. So this can be seen in Marathwada, Bihar, Gujarat, and Andhra Pradesh, where they have mobilized people belonging to their caste, belonging to their sections in large numbers for political representations, which would make them uh, visible in policies or even electoral processes. So next thing would be like in the Hindi belt, Dalit Bahujan political discourse have given rise to formation of political parties. So these political parties specially catered their views or opinions to backward classes and SCs because of, and with that thing, these parties were able to gain electoral successes because they've been catering to only certain sections of people, which they think that they've not been represented enough earlier in the politics. So this can be seen in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, like BSP, SP, RJD. They are a direct consequence of caste mobilization. So they predominantly belong to certain sections of the society, but their formation is just based on uh, they by representing themselves of the people by representing themselves like people belonging to that caste, certain castes and sections. So in 21st century, also chief ministers of the most states. Earlier, it was notion of small elite sections would be becoming prime minister, sorry, chief ministers. So in the non-Brahmins and people from middle caste, from many backward castes, have also said to have become chief ministers in certain states where the mobilization was able to succeed and overthrow the domination of the dominant caste, and the elite, the modern elite, have come into the picture. So the role of politics in caste. So it reinforced caste identities, increasing caste rivalries such as Mahar and Maratha rivalry in Maharashtra, Kamma and Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, Lingayat, Vokalingas in Karnataka, then Rajput and Bhumihars in Bihar. So these rivalries have paved the way for the caste alliances, which have led to installing the caste-based alliances such as Kshatriya Mahasabha in Gujarat, Vanyar Kula Sangam in Tamil Nadu, Ahir Jat, Gujar, Rajput, Ajgar Association in Uttar Pradesh. So this fusion and fission processes of caste associations have paved the way for new social mobilizations, new political mobilizations, or change of structural analysis or change of structural mobilization in India. So religion. Now let's talk about religion in Indian politics. So Gandhi religion is like India can never be separate from politics. This is a Gandhian notion of religion. So the communalism is variously understood as the ideology, policy, and practice of divisiveness based on differences, and it describes the bigotry and parochialism. So the what happened is like India Act of 1909. This has tried to provide not only a separate electorate on the basis of caste, but it has tried to provide separate electorate on the basis of religion. Like it tried to instigate the one religion against the another religion in India during the British rule. So this has led to the creation of two nations theory, and the India after just before the independence also was divided on the basis of this two nation theory, like this cultural and political communities would assign themselves as separate, and they would mobilize people on the basis of religion. So now we have come to the broader prospect of mobilization on the basis of religion. So India was relatively any communal conflicts, and as the one-party dominance was slightly decreasing, the economic crisis and the economic crisis, the international restructuring have led for like uh, a notion of political parties mobilizing on the basis of religion. But the Election Commission of India have strictly stipulated that political parties must be secular and they should make distance from the religions, and they should be democratic in nature, representing everybody as equal. But the this was seen as this was seen as opposite in certain section in certain parts of the country like Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Bihar, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh. So Maharashtra. So what happened here is like the Congress, which was dominant party back then, have made alliances with communal parties like Muslim League, Akali Dal. So they tried make communal alliances with uh, these parties so that they can get the support of the other religious people. So this had been went against the directives of this secularism And this can also be seen in CPIM also made alliance with Muslim League in Kerala and All India Muslim League during certain time, and Janasangh at the center between 1977 and 79. They have started to make this communal organizations or restructuring. So the religious factors also could be studied under three heads, which can be seen as communal mobilization, communal riots, and religious fundamentalism. So communal mobilization is nothing but like the religious lines uh, or like communal. It's a communal thing. So it's communal ante religious on the basis of religion that the society has been divided, and the religion have come into picture, and political parties have started to mobilize people on the basis of religion also. Like in order to gain support of the minority parties, the Congress party especially was catering the special privileges and policies which would address the minority sections and assure to make policies which would be beneficial to them. This is like showing a discrimination. Like they should be catering votes on the basis of equal representation of all, but this one-sided assurances would make the certain sections of society to support that party. So then now the another party in the society or in political structure was BJP, which was able to support the majority community. So and why? Because we have seen yesterday in coalition politics how it went from Congress and non-Congress to anti-Congress and anti-BJP. So they in this drastic shift, the this majority card also have played an important role. And with Indira Gandhi's political leadership, the and with the emergence of national emergency and also the Operation Blue Star, which is like anti-Sikh riots, which also led for her assassination in 1984. They have been mobilizing on the minority card, like separate Khalistan movement, etc. So there's a schism of minority and majority mobilization. This has been revived again after Babri Masjid issue by Congress Party and demolition by BJP and Sangh Parivar in 1991. So 1991, post 1991, it's not just the globalization, liberalization, or politicization that have awakened the people of India, but also this issue of Babri Masjid and Ram Mandir have also divided society on the basis of like this is how they have seen a shift to anti-Congress and anti-BJP. So and also this can be seen in separate notion like the Uniform Civil Code. So and the triple talaq case by then during Rajiv Gandhi and now during Narendra Modi, like both have been taking two different stands on it. And this could also be for their like the representation of minority card and majority card. And this also led like the Garvapsi, like which is like a reconverting of people into Hinduism again, who were previously converted into Islam. So this is how the things have been going on. Now this certainly have led to communal riots. So the mobilization have second stage could lead to the riots like an extension of communal politics, which is not as peaceful, but a violent methods because people belonging to one religion would attack people belonging to the other religion. And this created a sense of insecurities and hatred and vengeance between certain sections of society. And these political parties would mobilize them and all could lead to polarization, both socially and politically. So this can be seen in Ahmedabad riots, Bhiwandi, Aligarh, Hyderabad, Hazaribagh, anti-Sikh Bombay riots, and Godhra riots. So this and Sunni Shia conflicts and Sikh Nirankari conflicts, Lepchas, Bhutias in Sikkim. So then next comes the religious fundamentalism. So this religious fundamentalism is nothing but a group or an individual in the authority of sacred religious texts or teachings. Uh, they communalize the mass politics on the basis of religious appeal. So this can be seen like Islamic and Sikh fundamentalists are part of general mobilization politics because and also Hindus and Christian fundamentalism are very rare to be seen, especially in Indian Ocean. And this also could be seen in Mandir Masjid issue. And now after this post Ayodhya or post Godra, whatever they have been, the rise of Hindutva protagonist and rise of Islamic terrorism uh, have led for the consolidation of the minority majority communal politics in India. Then gender in Indian politics. So the representation of women in Indian politics is very meager. So especially with women voters increasing their participation in politics in recent times, and especially if you look at Telangana or Andhra, women and men are almost all equal in population, but the representation in politics, as in power, power making decisions or decision making positions, are very low. Like they are hardly single digit numbers. So like why is that representation is very low? This in spite of women participation in Indian national movements and their participation in various other independence movement have been higher, but their participation in independence have been like representation is very low. So this vote, they usually come out to vote, and in certain constituencies there are highest number of women voters in comparison with the men. So why is that so that in spite of them being in similar numbers with the men, they are represented very less? So this is because their mobilization, political mobilization is very low, and they don't have this political consciousness, and they see politics as a dirty business. So their willingness to be participating in politics is judgmental that it is not my business. I cannot withstand that hate. I cannot withstand that violence. So this is how these are the certain notions or gender the stereotypical roles that women have been given in general society. So these roles have been obstructing them in contesting in politics. So the women has pointed out lack of women political empowerment and limitations in decisive role in political affairs, and also representation of women in India in overall world. India ranks 148 rank in terms of their representation in parliament, and the presence of women in upper house has been high comparative to the lower house because the representation, proportional representation has been different in the upper house. And the women's reservation bill have said to have proposed 33.3% reservation to the women, and with 50%, see, with one third of reservation of women in local bodies at the grassroots levels, have also said to have mobilized women at the grassroots levels, and their participation has the representation has increased over a period. So, women and political representation, 73rd and 74th constitutional uh, Amendment Acts 1992-93, they provided space for the women to participate, and as I've said, one third of elections for direct election of members for each tier of panchayats are also to be reserved for the women. So this is how, and also their mere representation in assemblies. If you look at the case of uh, in national parliament, the or in case of the state assemblies, the women has been represented very merely. Like let's suppose if there's a triple digit of seats, tickets are given to men exist, then the let's suppose there's a four digit tickets exist and there are only like triple digit of tickets are given to the women, and hardly the single digit or the double digit of women get elected to the legislators, like get elected as the legislators, or like what can we say, as elected representatives. So this notion is seen differently. This can be seen because if you look at the study, if you look at the tactics, statistics, so what happened was the political parties are very unwilling to give tickets to women representatives. So why is it so? Because the women winnability of women candidates in elections is very low. So why when the question of why comes, and through certain interviews and all, see, women voters are not interested in voting for women. So the reasons they have given is certainly because they said that even though they represents a woman, the representation in ballot would be a woman, or representation of them as an elected member in the house would be them. But in spite of all these things, there's a notion that their position would be run by their men in the family. Like, so overall, it's almost like a patriarchal society. So, and in decision making roles, or also women are uninterested, sorry, are very lessly represented, and the women representation is low. So that, and it's the representation of men is high. So the women issues, or just like if so that they want to go, they want to complain about something, the women wouldn't be seen. So they, who do they complain it to? So this notion have come like that. And next thing would be uh, political parties would be interested in giving tickets only if the candidate is able to raise funds. So when there's a notion of women candidates, then it's just the property. They don't have rights to property, even though the property is it on their name, but it would just be in the numbers. Sorry, it just be on paper. So the physical representation, the fundraising would be a hectic work for them. So that's why the parties are also uninterested in giving tickets to them, and they represent. And then another one is like stereotypical position of women in Indian society, that they are not meant for politics. They are meant to be in roles of caretaking and all such things. So these are all, and next thing would be education. So the education of women, and like how their representation in leadership roles, in policy making decisions, would enhance the position of them in general day-to-day life. So their representation is very less, and and the mobilization. So the mobilization should start at the grassroots levels. So this mobilization have can be said that to a far extension, the representation of women at the grassroots levels have increased. So so more, and this bill, women representation bill, which supposed to have reserved 33.3%, uh, but the stereotypical situations that legislators face day to day, and their role in not so strong decision making roles would obstruct, would demotivate the other women from entering into politics, because they see it from the perspective of a masculine business, and they cannot withstand such violence in their day-to-day life. So this is how the gender, the caste, and the religion have shaped their way, paved their way into Indian politics, and they helped mobilize people. So, as said by some theories, that these roles have helped mobilize people, have made them aware of social issues, made them aware of policy issues, but in a way they also have fragmented society on the basis of caste or religion. like and fundamentalist tactics. So either for the and underrepresentation of women. So these all things should be balanced for a proper peaceful democratic structure to be outstanding. And political parties should be mobilizing people rather on the basis of their policies, rather on the basis of the caste or the stereotypes they abide by. And people should be participating very vocally in politics and not be fragmented as a society, but rather fight for a single cause in upholding the democratic institutions. So this is all for today's class of what social factors have played an important role in Indian politics. So tomorrow we'll be talking about the movements, social movements that have shaped or that have given rise to various certain political parties. So I hope you all understood today's lecture and uh, so you can text in the comment box that you have understood the today's lecture. Yeah. So please go through the lesson and the slides and make notes of it for a better understanding. So I'll see you again all in tomorrow's class. So I'll be leaving now. Yeah.